What if I told you that destitution is increasing in the UK? We know that we have poverty in the UK, but isn't destitution something that we no longer have? Destitution is what you might see in Hogarth's paintings of 18th century London or a 19th century Dickens novel, but surely not something that's come back in the 21st century. Well, yes, a shocking report by the Joseph Rowntree Foundation has found destitution levels that are not only high, but are actually increasing. This report concludes that there's been a shameful increase in the levels of destitution in the UK, with a growing number of people struggling to afford the most basic physical needs to stay warm, dry, clean and fed. Over the past decade of austerity, we've heard about food banks, we've heard about poverty. There's even an official deprivation index that ranks each town in the UK according to the level of deprivation. However, this report has had to go back to Victorian vocabulary to be able to adequately decide what millions of people in the UK are actually experiencing in 2023. Let's just pause and think about what destitution means. Bereft of resources, in want and misery, without the very necessities of life, without bare subsistence, in absolute want. We're not just talking about a few people here. Between 2019 and 2022, the number of adults experiencing destitution has increased from 1.8 to 2.8 million. Nearly 3 million adults. That number is terrible, but this one's even worse. The number of children in destitution has increased from 550,000 in 2019 to more than 1 million in 2022. I find this absolutely shocking and devastating. This report defines destitution as lacking at least two of the things in this list of essentials. This graph shows the percentage of destitute households experiencing lack of these essentials. 61% of households lacked food in 2022, up from 57% in 2019. More than 50% of the destitute households lacked food, heating, clothes and toiletries. More than a third of people experienced lack of lighting. Unbelievable! The only category to improve during this period was shelter, with the percentage of households sleeping rough decreasing. The income of these households is just shocking. 27% of destitute households are living with zero income. More than 50% of these households have income levels of £84 or less. How can a household possibly live on £84 a week? No wonder the word destitution has been used. The UK has experienced a number of crises in recent years. However, these almost 4 million destitute people are too few to have any impact on the political process. They're forgotten. They have no voice. They don't make the headlines. But this crisis is as big as any other crisis that the UK has faced. Thank goodness for organisations like the Joseph Rowntree Foundation that highlight this. Our politicians seem so out of touch. I had a look through Rishi Sunak's speech at the recent Conservative Party conference. The speech where he's basically setting out his stall for a likely election next year. And I searched for any reference to poverty. I found one mention. He was talking about his decision to chart a new course to net zero. He talked about the thousands of pounds people will need to pay for the transition to electric vehicles and how this would disproportionately fall on the poorest in society. Absurd. I don't think Sunak has any clue about the poorest in society in 2023. In conclusion, destitution is a strong word. But 3 million adults and 1 million children is an absolute crisis. If the UK is a civilised, compassionate country, this is one of the most pressing problems that we need to address. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. I'd really appreciate that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.